He's got that power, but
Oh. Testing, testing. Dex, can you hear us?
Who? Oh, he was younger than us.
Counselor Walker, can you hear us?
Mic is off. We don't control that though, do
He's
we?
replying in the chat that he can't hear us. Oh, and he's gone now.
That one said Dex had left.
Mm-hmm.
There it comes.
Yeah, anybody want to come up here? Chair's open.
You bring a chair down here.
Who makes the biggest donation to the fireworks?
Dex, can you hear
Sit
us?
up here tonight.
I think I have your dollar from last week.
I can now hear. Can you guys hear me? Thanks for your patience.
Yes, we're good. Thank you.
Not tonight, I don't think anybody.
Hey, we're past time. Let's go ahead and start it. Welcome, everyone. We are at a regularly scheduled city council meeting, City of Marshalltown at City Hall Council Chambers, 10 West State Street. Today's date is June 26, 2023. The time is 5:30 p.m. We are called to order, so with those who are able, join us in the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Roll call, please.
Hoop,
Here.
Isom,
Here.
Kell,
Here.
Lottiehoff,
Here.
Schneider,
Here.
Thompson,
Here.
Walker.
Here.
Very good. Full house. I need to read this proviso about public comment, which comes next, and that is that members of the public may make comments on any item not on the agenda during this time. The speaker is to approach the mic, state your name and address for the record, and limit your comments to 3 minutes or less, unless authorized by the mayor. Direct the comments to the mayor and council as a whole, and the mayor and councilors are not allowed to engage in discussion or debate on these items raised by members of the public, and no action may be taken on those items in order that we comply with the open meetings laws. With that proviso, the microphone is open.
Hello, Jim Shaw, 522 North 2nd Street. I'm here today to speak about dog attacks. Because of the limited time I've had at previous meetings, I'll continue again tonight. There was an article in the TR about a high school student getting bitten by a German Shepherd on the bike path west of the Little League complex. The dog was unleashed, but obviously not under control. The dog owner did ask the student if he's okay, and the student replied he thought so. No information was exchanged, and after going home, it was determined that the student needed medical attention. Stitches were given, and because no information was exchanged, painful rabies shots were given, and the parents either insurance or out of their pocket had to pay for it. My fiance had to go through the painful rabies shot a couple of years ago, and it cost her nearly $5,000. I know all of you are aware of the postal worker being bitten by the pit bull because I sent you all text about it. Injuries were 3 large gouges on the back of her hand, requiring stitches. As you can see from the picture that I've given everybody up front, the bite is quite deep. I wouldn't be surprised if there was some nerve damage, maybe even affecting the function of her hand. A bite so deep it will no doubt leave a significant scar. I assume this was reported to the police because Iowa law states that it shall be the duty of the owner of any dog, cat, or other animal that has bitten or attacked a person or any person having knowledge of such bite or attack is to report this to a law enforcement official. So whoever treated the postal worker's hand had to report it, so there is a police report somewhere. And looking at the pictures, I just want to tell everyone, what would you do if this was your wife's hand? Both examples are examples of no owner responsibility. Iowa is a strict liability state, meaning an owner is responsible for any injuries done by their pets. In both of these instances, that didn't happen. That's a problem. Another problem is the law doesn't give any consequences for the dog. Our city ordinance says that they can be declared vicious, but that's a waste of paper and unenforceable. Iowa law covers the liability of dog owner. Our dog ordinance needs to address the repercussions to the dog attacks. If a dog owner is guilty of 2 at-large violations, the dog is either spayed or neutered. But if he's attacked or biting, we have nothing there to say what happens to him. Spading and neutering should be a must. Also, severe restrictions about the dog being placed on a chain-type leash when it is tethered outside. If not tethered on a leash with his owner when outside, the dog needs to be enclosed in a secure, escape-proof chain-link fence all the time. Why? Because during a 15-year period, from 2005 to 2019, 521 Americans, according to dogbite.org, were killed. This is a website that tracks dog attacks. That's almost 35 a year, or 3 a month. It added pit bulls combined for 66%, or 346 of these deaths. Combined pit bulls and Rottweilers contributed to 76% of the total. There have been several attacks in Marshalltown over Iowa in the past couple of months, 2 in Marshalltown. We need to protect our city ordinance. Our city ordinance needs to be researched and rewritten to address this problem.
Thank you. Anyone else?
Mark Eaton, 1007 South 10th Avenue. I'm wondering if we need to do a review of our record retention policy. Recently, as you know, the city is a paying member of the Chamber of Commerce and has a seat on the board. That means that the city administrator gets notices and emails of agendas and minutes that she should have in her possession, or he should have in his possession now. When I sent in a FOIA request for 7 of the back agendas, I was given 1 and told that the others were no longer on file or available. So that's a record retention problem in my book, because the city taxpayers are paying for that seat at the Chamber of Commerce, and we should have access to all of those records. Thank you.
Anyone else? Okay. Let's see, Sarah, do we have years of service recognition tonight? Katie is not here. Okay. Can I just recognize her in her absentia?
Oh, please, yes.
Okay. We celebrate Katie Fink being at her 10-year anniversary at the library. She's one of the delightful people you'll see, and will help you at the reference desk, or if you're wandering around the shelves over there. Comes from a family that is known for doing a lot of volunteer things in this city, and so we thank Katie for the good work she's done at the library, and we're glad to have her for 10 years here. Let's have her for another 30. All right, on to the consent agenda. Before noon today, we got one request that we remove item 4. Does anybody have a motion to approve the other items on the consent agenda besides number 4?
I'd make a motion to approve, Your Honor.
Thank you. Waiting for a second.
Second.
Thank you. Roll call.
Audioff,
Yes.
Schneider,
Yes.
Thompson,
Yes.
Walker,
Yes.
Hoop,
Yes.
Isom,
Yes.
Kell.
Yes.
Very good. That carried. Would you read those, please?
Approve of the minutes for the June 12th, 2023 meeting in the bill list in amount of $1,781,145.73. Approve liquor license renewals for the Central Iowa Fairgrounds at 1308 East Olive Street. Mama DeGredo's Pasta and Pizza at 2500 South Center Street. Approve the May 2023 financial statements. Resolution 2023-132 approving a 28E interagency agreement between Iowa Department of Inspections and Appeals and the City of Marshalltown. Agreement expires August 22nd of 2024. Resolution 2023-133 approving city fee schedule change to the electric vehicle charging station. Resolution 2023-134 approving contract change order number 1 for the Headworks and Digester Improvements Project number WPC 21001, an increase of $40,067.69. Resolution 2023-135 approving contract change orders number 2 through number 5 for the State Street Reconstruction Project number STR 21004, a decrease of $4,222.10. Resolution 2023-136 accepting the Rebuild Marshalltown Fund grant for landscaping on State Street Reconstruction Project. And Resolution 2023-137 authorizing for the conveyance of the east-west alley through the Miller Middle School practice field.
Thank you. Let's revisit then item number 4. Does anybody move to approve that item? I guess I should have you read it for the people online here first.
Reappoint James Lawrence and Ashton Beek to the Library Board of Trustees, a term of July 1st, 2023 to June 30th of 2029.
I'll move to approve, Your Honor.
Thank you. Is there a second?
Second.
Very good. Discussion?
Your Honor, if I may. Pull this off the consent agenda for a citizen to speak out against this reappointment.
Mark Eaton, 1007 South 10th Avenue. I do not think you should reappoint Jim Lorenz to the board of the library. He, as far as I'm aware, he's also a board member of the Friends of the Library, which carries a big stick of about $500,000 in donations, which are given only to the library. So when he votes, I think other people will be inclined to vote the way he votes, and that's a problem of influence, in my opinion. There's quite a controversy right now going on at the library about the Epic Times and the National Rifleman, American Rifleman magazine, and this has created quite a stir. You can read the letters to the editor. We have a council member who's been to the library and spoke out about it. We actually have 2 council members who have been there, one on each side. I don't really think that he should be reappointed because of his influence. The Friends of the Library director also spoke against having this board, and I think that's all against their policies, which are the freedom to read policy. So I think you should not reappoint him. Thank you.
Anyone else wish to speak on this one, including counselors or public? Roll call.
Your Honor, if I may.
You may.
I've been at the last 4 library meetings anyway, and there really isn't a controversy. The library board voted not to include 2 different publications in their regular circulation. And the issue is closed. There is no controversy, and there isn't any more talking about it. They made a decision. No board member wants to revisit it, so the issue is dead. As far as both of these individuals, they've done a great job on the library board. I don't see any problem with either one of them. They're there, they vote, they're conscientious, and just because someone is in the fundraising wing of a volunteer group for the public library, that's a good thing. And that he has the interest, or they both have the interest of the library at heart. I don't see any problem whatsoever with this. Thank you.
Thank you. Anybody else wish to speak on it?
Linda Clark, 306 South 2nd Avenue. I attended one of the meetings just to listen to what the people were talking about. And yes, there is an issue. And when there were people that offered to purchase those magazines and those articles, it's not really a dead issue. Our public library should have information that is well-founded and information for anybody to read, and it shouldn't be regulated by influencers, fundraisers, or money. The public library is for everybody, and I know that there were people that offered to buy the subscriptions for that because I attended that meeting. And Mr. Lottehoff, I disagree. There is an issue, and I think it should be really looked at closer. Thank you.
Anyone else like to speak?
Your Honor, if I may.
You may.
As the other counselor that attended some of those meetings, I'm a strong believer in the library. The library is for everybody. It should have information for everybody, both sides of every issue. The reason that was given initially for not having these 2 publications was misinformation in one, and the other one was a cost issue. So the cost issue, like Linda said, went away when patrons said they would pay for both of them. And the other issue of misinformation, there are several, the point I made at one of the meetings is there's several books, magazines that have misinformation in them, not just the Epic Times. So the only way I can look at this is this board voted not to ban books, but if you don't have to ban them, if you don't even buy them in the first place. So I think there's some very closed minds on the board, and I think this would send a message that we want people with open minds, that liberal and conservative, and understand the library represents everybody. No matter my personal beliefs, should not be a factor in those decisions. So I agree with the two that spoke out. I don't think we should reappoint these two members. So thank you, Your Honor.
Thank you. Would anyone else like to speak? Well,
Your Honor, if I may, one last comment. The library followed their procedure, their policy, and voted on the matter. The matter is over. There isn't anything else to talk about. They look at lots of publications to see if they qualify or whatnot. And, I don't like getting told no either, but I do. And I live with it. There isn't a controversy. The board has made its decision. They followed policy. The vote was unanimous. Unanimous.
So what?
Right?
So what?
That means
Don't speak from the audience. That's not allowed here.
that means it's over. So you can rattle and roll and do what you like. The answer was no. So that's all I have to say, Your Honor. Thank you.
And you have to be recognized and approach the mic and be allowed to speak because people can't hear you otherwise outside, and we don't like to get into shouting things, so don't do that. Anyone else?
Your
like
Honor,
to-
do I get my rebuttal now?
You can have Sir rebuttal for about 10 seconds.
Hey, we're elected by the taxpayers of Marshalltown. If they don't like the way we vote, they vote us out. These people are not elected. They're chosen by the mayor. We ratify them. So the public does not have a say in this. This is our chance to let the public be heard.
You're over your 10 seconds, and actually, I think the public votes the mayor in, so you can vote me out. Anyone else like to speak? Roll call.
Isom,
Yes.
Kell,
Yes.
Bodyhoff,
Yes.
Schneider,
Yes.
Thompson,
No?
Walker,
Yes.
Hoop,
No,
Thank you. On to reports. We have one of those tonight. And, I'm sorry, that carried. On to impact.
Good evening, everybody. David Hicks, Director of YSS of Marshall County with quarterly impact report. Impact being the Marshalltown Police and Community Team, where we've embedded social workers within the police department to deal with their non-criminal social service calls. Just want to give a brief update of several things here. A couple weeks ago, Lieutenants Weekly, Trish Tyne, Impact Advocate Mark Dolan, and I attended the National Co-Responder Conference in Spokane, Washington, where we discussed our program with the likes of folks from Atlanta, Denver, Seattle, and we were by far the smallest city represented at that conference who are doing co-responder model response for community policing. So we learned a lot about how to train new advocates. In fact, we have a new advocate starting today. Autumn Drulo, longtime advocate, has her mental health license, and she'll become one of our mental health practitioners. So Suzanne Reed started today to replace Autumn. Autumn will become, like I said, one of our mental health practitioners, which we need more of. So super happy to be able to represent small town Iowa at National Co-Responder Conference. Not only did we learn safety standards for new advocates, we learned ways to manage data, substantiate some of our services, and we were able to share our successes and partnerships with much larger communities than Marshalltown. So totally thrilled to be able to represent our small town and our innovative project on a national scale. And quite frankly, I think we're going to present next year on our services because it's in Omaha next year. So super thrilled for that. Cumulative stats, January through May, we've responded to 144 calls for service with 363 contacts. In addition to that, 205 follow-ups with 342 contacts. We've been monitoring our frequent flyers, our frequent users. The PD used to respond to calls too, but now we are handling most of those. 38% of our follow-ups are kind of with our frequent users of the Marshalltown Police Department. So we've really been able to reduce their response to those frequent high-need people. So 88% of the officers have returned to the field following that initial call we've provided, again, saving a lot of time. 97% of the calls that we respond to, families are wanting to engage with us, 97%, which is a lot. Want to talk a little bit specifically about monetizing our data. So, I throw out all these numbers, but there's often a cost factor with these or a cost saving. So, through May of this year, Impact has knowingly redirected 12 people that we can specifically count from entering the ER for a mental health or behavioral health issue. We know there's likely more than that. So a 2017 report from Healthcare Cost Institute noted that a 7-day mental health admission for an insured person is $9,293. An uninsured person for a week's care is about $20,479. You multiply that by the 12 people we prevented from going to the hospital for a long-term stay. That's a savings of $245,748. That doesn't include the loss of labor that person had in Marshalltown business. We've knowingly deterred the arrest of 9 people by providing intense wraparound services and care. In fiscal year 2021, the Justice System Appropriations Committee indicated the daily cost of housing an inmate in one of the 9 state prisons was $38,400 a year. If we have prevented 2 people from entering the state's prison system for a year, that's a savings of $76,000. If we prevented 4 people from entering the state's prison system for a year, that's a savings of $153,600, which is certainly more than the cost of the initial investment in Impact. So we're saving time, money, and lives. Our county jail is a 182-bed facility. We assume the costs are probably similar, but I'm going to be working with those folks to determine what their cost savings is if we are preventing people from going to the county jail in times where it's a social service need and not a criminal matter. So we continue to provide services with the new advocate starting today. We've started a new training procedure to make sure they are practicing proper radio etiquette, working with the police department. We're looking at some new safety measures that we're putting in place and just a methodical way that we're going to train people instead of throwing them to the wolves, so to speak, a little bit more methodical way of introducing a new advocate. So advocate we hired today has some mental health experience. It's been a long time EMT, so thankful she's coming on board. She has the radio experience, but she's going to be our guinea pig in our new training system. Questions, comments?
I don't hear or see any, so thank you for the good report and the good work that you're doing.
Yeah, thank
And
you.
congratulations to your daughter in the Miss Iowa
Oh,
contest.
yeah.
First and third in a couple of categories.
Yeah.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah, thank you for that.
All right, on to motions, and we just have one of those. What's that?
Motion to approve a 5-day alcohol license from the Midnight Ballroom to the Central Iowa Fairgrounds Arena for a rodeo on July 29th with outdoor service.
So moved, Your Honor.
Thank you.
Second.
Very good. Discussion.
Louisa Ortega is hosting a rodeo and a concert at the fairgrounds on July 29th, and the fairgrounds will move their license to the activities building during this event.
Any comments or questions by the council or by the public? Roll call.
Ladioff,
Yes.
Schneider,
Yes.
Thompson,
Yes.
Walker,
Yes.
Hoop,
No.
Isom,
Yes.
Kell,
Yes.
Carried. Resolution's just one of those.
Resolution 2023-138, authorizing an agreement between the City of Marshalltown and GovHR USA for the city administrator recruitment and selection and the use of council-designated local option sales tax.
Is there a motion to approve it?
So moved, Your Honor.
Thank
Second.
you. Very good. And discussion?
Your Honor.
Yeah.
You want me to speak then? Okay, sorry, I didn't see that. Just to remind you, at the last council meeting, the council voted to give direction to staff to move forward with GovHR. And with that, there's been some conversations with them. The one thing I want to make sure I put out there, that to clarify the confusion, I'm doing this for Jill because normally she would do that, but I'll just read it out loud if I could. Am I saying that all right? You guys can hear all right? Thanks. To clarify any confusion, prior to resolution to authorize the mayor and city clerk to execute a contract with GovHR, staff wants to make sure it's understood that once the contract is signed, any candidates considered, whether those that originally applied with the city directly or with new ones that come in through GovHR. So it's just wanted to make sure to put out there, if you move forward on it, which that's what council had asked us at the last meeting, it's understood is once we get that and sign it, the ones that are existently come in would be, you'd have to pay the same amount whether we just tried to interview those or not. They now manage those pieces, the resumes that were already existed. For the record, we did get, I believe, 11 candidates. They were made aware that this might move forward. And, 13 of those 11 said they want to still be part of the process. Any questions on that, Mayor? So what we're looking at tonight is to move forward as per the direction last week at our last council meeting on June 12th, I believe.
Okay, thank you. Any comment up here?
Your Honor, if I may.
You may.
I was one of the more vocal proponents or advocates of using a consultant last time, and truthfully, my position hasn't changed on that. What has changed is the committee was appointed, met last week, went through resumes, deemed, or based on criteria, deemed a number of them viable to move forward. Looking at the timeline proposed by GovHR, it's a 13 to 14 week multi-phase process. Looking at where we are with the committee's work, we're probably in phase 2, probably, or even maybe even phase 3 with this, with the work they've done. I would like at this point to offer the motion to table this for 2-4 weeks, allow them to work that process. Again, in a 13 to 14 week overall process, I don't think 2 weeks is going to set us back too much, or 4 weeks, and we may have the candidate we need already. So per that comment Bob gave, yeah, once we sign that contract, we're locked in. So I don't know if there's an appetite, but my 2 cents.
We've got a motion to table on the floor. Is there a second to that? Any further, let's see, is that one calling for discussion or not?
Your Honor, if I may.
I'm not sure you can. Yeah, let me see if I can look at my cheat sheet to see. Yeah, it's non-debatable according to the cheat sheet here. So let's go ahead and call the roll on that one.
Isom,
Yes.
Kell,
Yes.
Lottiehoff,
Yes.
Schneider,
No.
Thompson,
No.
Walker,
Yes.
Hoop.
Okay, it's tabled. Thank you. And I'm glad to hear the committee had met. I hadn't known that. Good. Thank you. Very good. On to ordinances. We have a few of those. What's our first one?
Ordinance 15062 to amend the Code of Ordinances, City of Marshalltown, Iowa by amending 93.007 alcoholic beverages, second reading.
Move for approval.
Thank you. Any second?
Second.
Discussion.
Yes, Your Honor. This amendment will require a public use permit and an alcohol license to be obtained in order to have alcohol in any of the parks, and the exceptions remain the same for the rental of the buildings at Riverview Park or at the campground.
Thank you. Discussion up here first. And public discussion second. Roll call.
Thompson,
Yes.
Walker,
Yes.
Hoop, Isom,
Yes.
Kell,
Yes.
Lottiehoff,
Yes.
Schneider.
Yes.
Very good. That carried. Next one.
Ordinance 15063 to amend the Code of Ordinances, City of Marshalltown, Iowa by amending Chapter 130, Offenses Against Peace and Safety, second reading.
Floor is open for motion.
I make the motion, Your Honor.
Thank you.
Second.
Discussion?
Yes, this amendment will reinstate language that was removed regarding offenses from vehicle sirens and tires. It also repeals some outdated requirements that are in there from the 1950s for trafficking of weapons, displaying weapons, and slingshots. And then it also updates the zoning district names and removes the Nicholas Ford Nature Area from the hunting within city boundaries.
Thank you. And this is second reading, I understand. Is there any discussion, questions, or comments up here? Any public comments? Roll call.
Kell,
Yes.
Lottiehoff,
Yes.
Schneider,
Yes.
Thompson,
Yes.
Walker,
Yes.
Hoop,
Yes.
Isom.
Yes.
Very good. That carried as well. And the third one.
Ordinance 15064 to amend the Code of Ordinances, City of Marshalltown, Iowa by amending provisions of Ordinance 14806 and the Table of Special Ordinances, Table 1 franchises with Interstate Power and Light Company for a gas utility franchise, a second reading.
Move for approval.
Thank you.
Second.
Very good. Discussion up here.
Mr. Mayor, if I might.
You may.
Just to remind everybody, I think there was some uneasiness of how that went there, for lack of better words, but just to remind everybody, this would be a 5% franchise fee. There was some discussion about how many years that goes for, so there's a 25-year maximum you can do for a franchise fee. This particular one was put in place in 2007, so it would expire, I believe, in 2032. So about 7 years left in that. I also want to read some information to you if I could. There's been conversations of whether we're following everything we need, so I just want to follow up with item B of section 364-2. Such an ordinance shall not become effective unless approved at an election. The proposal may be submitted by the council on its own motion to the voters at any city election. Upon receipt of petition meeting of the requirements of section 362-4 requesting a regular city election, or at a special election called for that purpose before the next regular election. However, the city council may dispense with this election as to the grant amendment, extension or renewal on the electric, light, and power heating, waterworks, sewer services, as in 357A23, or gasworks franchise, unless there is a valid petition, grant amendment, extension, or renewal request an election. I know that's hard to understand, but what it's saying basically is you can call for an election, and there's still an opportunity for individuals to come in and provide people to come in and with a petition. But per law, and we double check with our bond counsel on that, what I read to you is that if the council so desires, they do not have to. They don't have to wait for a petition. They can go ahead and move forward on it itself. Does that make sense?
Thank you. Yep. Any discussion by the councilors? Any discussion by the public?
Mark Eaton, 1007 South 10th Avenue. So what the city administrator has given you is complete. Unfortunately, the council has forced the voter's hand in spending $20,000 for a special election. You, under this code, which the city administrator just read, the council had the power of it by its own vote to put this on a citywide election. Neglecting to do so and voting no to do so forced, well, technically didn't force you to, but forces a special election by the voters, unless the voters really want this and then don't sign the petition. But according to the TR on Saturday, where we have an article authored by Schneider, Kell, and Isom about the special election, or I mean the franchise fee. 293 people cast votes in a question that said, should the city of Marshalltown implement a 5% franchise fee on gas and electric bills to fund street improvements? According to the tally in Saturday's paper, it was 33 yes, 54 no, even though 293 people had voted. And this morning, it said 295 people had cast their vote, and 48 people said yes, and 247 people said no. So the people don't want this franchise fee, but you forced them, the council has forced us to get a petition and spend money on a special election. Thank you.
Any other public comment?
Harley Murr, 1004 Ratcliffe Drive, and I agree with Mr. Eaton's statement here. The public deserves a vote on this, and there is no need to spend money for a special election. You've been elected to represent the taxpayers, and now you're going to require more money from them. There's plenty of other ways you could cut the budgets and still have road repair and everything else. And you talked one time about spending money for a big splash pond, where a couple $1 million, I think it was, and we always got to hire these outside firms to make a study of it and spend more money there. When you could make the decision, a splash pond would have set the city up for liability with kids slipping and hitting their head and getting sued and everything else. And now you got a chance to save some money on a special election. Please let the public vote on this. Thank you.
Anyone else?
Your Honor, can I make a clarification?
Okay.
The city will only be spending $500,000 on whatever concept that we come up with. The rest of the money is raised money or grant funds. So out of our budget is $500,000, no matter what we come up with. Right. I'm sorry. On the water plaza, thank you for catching me in my brains. Anything that we put together for a concept for the water plaza, the city will be spending $500,000. We're not spending millions of dollars. The other money comes from grants and from donations.
Thanks. Doris, I think you were on the way to the mic.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Doris Kinnick, 2020 Catalina Place. You know, I am really tired of being here. I would love to spend my nights just home, just relaxing, but I feel I can't. And it's not just me up here talking, okay? I talk to a lot of people, and they're behind me in this. And I guess one thing you guys have to realize is that you are representing us, the voter. Not a special interest, not I don't know whomever, but every single one of you was voted in because we wanted you here. So I know it's real easy to say, yes, we'll vote for this, and yes, we'll vote for that, but boy, it'd be nice once in a while to hear a no, especially with this. And I know maybe it's like 5%, but 5%, as I know, and I've told you before, is more than a lot of people can afford. It really can. So I thank you so much for your time tonight.
Thank you. Anyone else?
Linda Clark, 306 South 2nd Avenue. I would like to have some clarification if the city administrator would please do so. I thought I understood him to say that the city council could vote to put this on an election or no. We have to do.
If that came out, I'm sorry, no, that just said that the language is cumbersome. I think Mr. Eaton would tell you the same thing.
That's why I wanted clarification with it.
But basically, the verification is that the council can move forward without calling for an election.
Okay. So then we have to have a special election like we did for the police department, fire department, and we'll get up the petitions to do it. Thank you so much for the clarification.
The mic is still open.
Lyle Heineman, 2804 Arnold Drive. By me sitting here tonight and just listening, it doesn't sound like there's too many people that are in favor of this franchise fee. And it repeated itself again from the last meeting. So I think you need to listen to what the people have to say and take it from there, because I still haven't heard somebody come up to this mic and say that they're in favor of this.
Anyone else?
Your Honor, I'll gladly speak up. I think to say that the city is immune to inflation, let alone the state continuing to take money from a revenue perspective from the city, would be absent for us not to mention. I hear people talking about what they can afford, and from a budget perspective, that's a key piece of some of the discussion happening here today. To think budget cuts is so easy to say, yet hard to sit there and dive into the weeds. $200,000 of what we're dwindling over here the last year, and yet what we're talking about, what this enables from a street perspective alone, is somewhere in excess of an additional $5 million from a street repair and replacement perspective. I guess I'm just kind of curious on solutions rather than complaints on where you're going to go generate $5 to $7 million in budget cuts on an annual basis to get what this is trying to enable and progress from a community perspective. And then I guess just a point of clarification, it's 5%, but there's already a 1% fee on your utility bills, so this is a net 4%. Just a point of clarification on what's going to be, I guess, impacted from a franchise fee. Thanks.
Thank you. Anyone else? Roll call.
Kell,
Yes.
Bodyhoff,
Yes.
Schneider,
Yes.
Thompson,
No.
Walker,
Yes.
Hoop,
No.
Isom,
Yes.
Very good. That carried as well. On to the next one.
Ordinance 15065 to amend the Code of Ordinances, City of Marshalltown, Iowa by amending provisions of Ordinance 14807 and the Table of Special Ordinances, Table 1 franchises with Interstate Power and Light Company for an electric utility franchise. Second reading.
Move to approve, Your Honor.
Thank you. Is there a second?
Second.
Discussion up here. Discussion out there.
Mark Eaton, 1007 South 10th Avenue. Just to clarify some things. So the Iowa code, we're looking at 364.2, 4B, says that the city council, by its own motion, can put this vote forward to a city election. That means the November election, just for everybody's clarification. They voted no. So the next thing says that we can get a petition together if we want to force a special election. The third thing says the city council can just blow off all the election requirements if it's gas, light and power, and waterworks and sewer. Now, cable television, they can't blow that off. You got to have a vote. It's kind of funny the way this is written. Okay. Now, we've had a local option sales tax forever and a day, and 75% of that was supposed to go to property tax relief. What is property tax relief? It is anything which reduces property tax or prevents it from increasing. Now, we've had this local option sales tax that says this. And as you know, Mr. Thompson has told the council that we're holding back money in that fund. We're not applying it all like we said we were going to do. And I think the 100,000 or more in there would reduce our property taxes by 10 cents a thousand. Now, Mr. Isom, on the other hand, voted, and all of you with him, well, not all of you, to increase the levy rate of the city by, I think, 16 cents per thousand, even though we've got property tax relief, which is supposed to prevent it from going up. Well, why not? Because we put 22% in a slush fund. which we're spending on all these special projects and giving to nonprofits. So we're not spending our money accordingly. We borrow $500,000 for a splash pad. We borrowed that. We're borrowing that because we don't have it to spend and we need it for a matching fund. So supposedly we can get $2 million from the state. But that's poor fiscal management when we don't have our roads fixed. There's all kinds of ways to fix the roads with the money. And baiting everybody with the roads is like Lucy and holding the football for Charlie Brown. Zoom! He never can kick it. She always pulls it out. We always know that's going to happen. That's what's going to happen with the road money and the property tax relief money.
Anyone else? Roll call.
Thompson,
No.
Walker,
Yes.
Hoop,
No.
Isom,
Yes.
Kell,
Yes.
Lottie
Yes.
Schneider.
Yes.
Carried. Next one.
Ordinance 15066 to amend the Code of Ordinances, City of Marshalltown, Iowa by amending the Table of Special Ordinances, Table 1, Franchises, by establishing a franchise agreement with Consumers Energy Cooperative for an electric utility franchise. Second reading.
Move for approval, Your Honor.
Thank you. Is there a second?
Second.
Discussion.
Your Honor, if I may.
You may.
The article that three of my compadres, the editorial they wrote, was a great article. But as the 2-year-old in me that always asks why, and the question behind the question, there's a lot of things that were failed to be mentioned. You know, yes, according to the 2021 data from the Iowa utilities, there are 216 cities that have a franchise fee, but what you're not being told is only 18% of those cities have the 5 electric and the 5 gas. Okay? So what's that? 82% didn't go after the full bowl. You know, you can go anywhere from 1 to 5%. So maybe I could have supported this, and I probably could have at 1 or 2%, but not to go for the whole 5%. The 1% is a wash because it wipes out the local option sales tax on your utility bills. And that's what we're all talking about. That's really a 4% increase, 5% for the ones that don't pay that tax. So just want to be clear, 216 cities is being thrown around as they already have this, they're using it. But again, only 18% of those have the 5 on electric and 5 on gas, both. So thank you, Your Honor.
You're welcome. Any other counselors who wish to comment?
Your Honor.
Yes.
Just a point of clarification. Last time I ran the numbers, just to have the fact-specific average is 4.35 across the 218 noted, and 4% would be the median value. Looking at other comparable cities, we're not out of line from a community requesting 5 and 5. When you look at the demographic and makeup of the cities, as they vary across the range of that median and average. The link was provided as part of some of the summary in that article, or is available via Google search.
Other council comment? Public comment?
Doris Kinnick, 2020 Catalina Place. Okay, I need some clarification here. Mr. Isom, you told me in the past that it was only 5%, period, correct?
5% gas, 5% electric.
So that's 10, correct?
Cumulatively on your utility bill, it's 5%.
It's 10%.
Inaccurate math, but thank you.
Mark Eaton, 1007 South 10th Avenue. So one of the curious things about this is the Consumers Energy franchise fee. It's going to start when it gets voted in, if it gets voted in. That's 25 years. We only got 7 years left on the 2, the Interstate Light and Power. What do you think is going to happen at the end of 7? I think it's going to go some more. Thanks.
Anyone else?
Thank you, Mr. Eaton. I was going to say that when I had my opportunity, just to make sure, because consumer is starting from zero, or starting from the day if it's approved, and it's 25 years. I didn't want to say everything was the 7 years like the other, but I just waited for my opportunity to talk about that, so.
Roll call.
Walker,
Yes.
Hoop,
Oh, no.
Isom,
Yes.
Kell,
Yes.
Bodyhoff,
Yes.
Schneider,
Yes.
Thompson,
No.
Carried, and our sixth ordinance?
Ordinance 15067 to amend the Code of Ordinances, City of Marshalltown, Iowa by amending 53.022 stormwater billing and collection, first reading.
Move for approval, Your Honor.
Thank you. Is there a second?
Second.
Thank you. Discussion up here?
Yes, Your Honor. This amendment authorizes the Marshalltown Waterworks to complete the collection processes on unpaid storm sewer accounts that have gone unpaid. The current code only allows for the city clerk to do so, but the Waterworks manages those accounts. So this will authorize them the ability to do so along with the city. And the language also updates the timelines to allow the Waterworks to follow their collection procedures.
Thank you. Any discussion up here? Any discussion out there? Let's see, there's a suggestion that the second and third readings could be waived if there's a motion to do so. This is an opportunity to make that motion.
We need to pass the first reading first.
We do, don't we?
Yes.
Okay, roll call on that one.
Kell,
Thank you.
Yes.
Bodyhoff,
Yes.
Schneider,
Yes.
Thompson,
No.
Walker,
Yes.
Hoop,
Yes.
Isom,
Yes.
Okay, and sorry, I jumped the gun. Anybody want?
Your Honor,
to
I
move?
make that motion.
Thank you. Is there a second to the motion to waive the second and third reading?
Second?
I don't anticipate discussion. Let's call the roll.
Bodyhoff,
Yes.
Schneider,
Yes.
Thompson,
No.
Walker,
Yes.
Hoop,
Yes.
Isom,
Yes.
Kell,
Yes.
That one carried, and it is now our ordinance. Thank you. Discussion item, the first one is funding of Group Health Insurance Fund 884. There's a memo that accompanies that. Ms. Steiner?
Good evening, Diana Steiner, Finance Director. In your memo, I provided a lot of information, but I'll try and just hit the highlights here, make it a little bigger. Okay, so the city self-insures their health and dental insurance. The employees pay 15% of the premium, and the city pays 85%. That money goes into a special fund, an 884, our group health insurance fund. And at the end of the calendar year, we file a report with the insurance board. So on this chart that you see before you, you can see that our fund balance has been deteriorating. So when we filed our December 31st, 22 report, the insurance board sent us a letter, which I have included in this memo, giving us a warning that we're not at the level we need to be for our fund balance. So based on our claim expenses for the first 5 months of this calendar year, 3 weeks of claims would be $200,000. Plus we're $80,000 in deficit. So we need an influx of $280,000. We did increase premiums this past January at 11.5%. Our third-party administrator just looked at the first quarter of this year, and they're recommending that we increase premiums by 20%. However, so I did some calculations and some looking at other funding sources. If we do a 10% increase to employees and the city's portion, that would get us to $107,000. The remainder we could take from the employee benefit fund levy and the enterprise funds and the grant funds. If we wanted to do a 20% increase, like our third-party administrator suggested, that would generate $215,000. What has caused this? Well, during COVID, a lot of the procedures were deferred. And so then by the time they actually did procedures several years later, they were worse and cost more money. As you know, prescriptions have gone up tremendously the last several years. So I kind of put some options together, depending on how much you want employees to contribute. So the first option I have is a 10% increase. Goes into effect with the August paychecks of this year. This would generate about $100,000 August to December for both the employee and the city's share. We would transfer in another $180,000 from the employee benefit fund and the grants and enterprise funds. The second option is to just do a 20% increase, again going into effect with August paychecks. Third option is there'd be no premium increase until this coming January, but we'd make transfers to generate the $280,000. So the employee benefit levy would take the hit of $205,000, which isn't a problem because there's about $2.7 million in there right now. And then the enterprise funds and the grants and Marshall County Communications Commission would contribute at their prorated amount. Or if there's any other suggestions that you would want to consider. I'm bringing this to you now because if we want the premium increase to go into effect in August, we would like to give the employees and the retirees a 30-day notice. So I'm looking for your direction.
Your Honor, I suppose I'd go first. I'm in favor of option one. Unfortunately, these costs just are not going to come down anytime soon, and I'd rather see a gradual ramp of this rather than all of a sudden we have a 30 or 40% increase. So unfortunately, we have to do something, and I think option one's our best choice.
Other council suggestions?
Your Honor, if
Yes,
I may?
you may.
It's just a terrible fact of life, insurance costs that go up. I don't feel that we ought to transfer funds out of other, or into, to make it right. I would support the 20% increase to go into effect August 1st. If we start transferring in constantly to backfill, we're just setting ourselves up for bad things, I think. I would just as soon keep it clean. I don't like increases either, but in anybody that's in a group, it is what it is.
Thanks. Other council comments?
Your Honor, if I may. Diana, why is this coming to us 3 months after we got the letter?
We were waiting for Bernie Lowe to do the evaluation of the claims. So they did it at the end of March. They looked at our claims January through March, and then we just got the report recently.
But you're our finance director. You could have seen the writing on the wall, so we could have increased, correct me if I'm wrong, we could have increased premiums, percentages earlier, a couple months earlier, which would have helped a little bit more, correct?
We just increased the premiums in January based on Bernie Lowe's recommendation back in November when we had the open enrollment period.
All right, thank you. Thank you, Your Honor.
And, you know, the first part of the calendar year, usually people are paying their copays and deductibles, so the city's share is a little bit lower. But, you know, so we thought it would come back down, but it's not.
I think you and your department has been a little bit busy trying to figure out what the heck we are going to have as a result of the legislature's final bills that they did at the very end after they went past the per diem. And I know we just lost a good staff member to another city with a nice new job opportunity for him, but you're pretty short-staffed right now.
Your Honor, if I may?
You may.
Diana, from your point of view, or what you see, which option would you pick?
I think the first option, because the employee's contributing and, we have other funds available in the employee benefit levy, and it is acceptable. It is lawful to use that employee benefit levy for this purpose.
Anyone else up here?
Your Honor, I would echo what Councilor Schneider said. Kind of the mid-year adjustment is a bit tough, but I would ask that we also review this again during the open enrollment period and make sure that the correction we're making now is sustainable into the future and we're not hitting up employees multiple times per year for adjustments.
And just so you know, our internal insurance committee met. They wanted to also look at going back full insurance before the open enrollment period, so we're going to be looking at that as well.
Anyone else up here? Public comment on this one?
Mark Eaton, 1007 South 10th Avenue. I know you're tired of hearing from me, but this budget stuff is just ridiculous. When as a business owner, when I calculate the cost of an employee, I multiply it times 120, so 20% more for their benefits. In the city, in the government world, we use 40%. So where I'm paying $2,000 a month for health insurance as a self-employed individual, a city staff member or a county member is paying $77 a month for family. Want to talk about where to fix your budget problem? There you go.
Any other public comment? Have you got staff direction? I guess if you're counting comments, you've got a couple for option number one for option number two. Maybe we need a motion.
Your Honor, I'd be happy to make a motion to direct staff to move forward with option one.
Is there a second?
Second.
Roll call.
Lottie Hoff,
No.
Schneider,
Yes.
Thompson,
No.
Walker, Walker, Hoop,
No.
Isom,
Yes.
Kell,
Yes.
Yeah, let's try Mr. Walker again. He might have been on mute or getting another cup of tea. Okay, nope. Tie vote it is.
Your Honor, I'd make a motion for option B. Option two, the 20% premium increase.
Is there a second to that motion?
I'll second.
Let's call the roll on this one.
Schneider,
No.
Thompson,
Yes.
Walker, Hoop,
Yes.
Isom,
No.
Kell,
No.
Lottie Hoff,
Yes.
That failed by tie as well, right? Oh, I'm sorry.
Counselor Walker, are you on?
Yeah, I'm on. Are we on? Are we still on? What's the current motion?
The current one is option number two, which was the 20% increase effective in August. It was a tie vote on
that's a
option
no.
number one, the 10% increase starting in August.
Your Honor, do you want me to re-motion one of those?
Since we've got the vote going, I probably need to get a vote on this option right now, which is the 20% premium increase. If I counted right, the vote was 3-3, so if we haven't caught you off guard too much, Mr. Walker, you would be the deciding vote on this one.
I'm noted to that.
Okay, that's a no vote. And so that one didn't carry as well. And now the floor is open for any other motions to try to give staff direction, because so far we haven't given staff any direction.
Your Honor, can I redo my first motion?
I think you can under the circumstances, because Mr. Walker's been remote and apparently wasn't available for a vote. I think it would be unfair to the voters to not allow that to be on the floor again tonight. So, yeah, if you want to renew your motion
Yeah,
again.
I would renew my motion to go, direct staff to go with option 1.
Is there a same second on that one?
Second.
Point of order, Your Honor.
Okay.
So we're going to turn to our new parliamentarian to decide this after you tell me I'm wrong. Is this kosher?
Well, I guess I have to give an answer then, right?
He's got to answer first.
If I'm the parliamentarian, I would say under the circumstances, with the technical difficulties we've had, and knowing that Mr. Walker was unable to vote on that first one, probably through no fault of his own, but because of technology, I'll risk that I'm giving the wrong answer. But my answer is, yes, it's okay, and we'll go with this vote for direct staff.
And
In
now
the
I'm-
meantime, you can,
Now I'm turning to the parliamentarian and asking him to clarify that.
Thank you. I would concur with the mayor. I think it was a function of the actual opportunity for Mr. Walker to do for the first one. And because there was a quirk in there somewhere, I think makes a lot of sense that you can come back with him back on it.
from a practical standpoint, if we don't give staff direction, they'll need direction next month. Next meeting will cost a little more time, and so I think it makes sense. So that's the ruling. Let's call the roll on this one.
Kell,
Yes.
Lottie Hoff,
No.
Schneider,
Yes.
Thompson,
No.
Walker,
Yes.
Hoop,
No.
Isom,
Yes.
Okay. Staff does have the direction then on option number 1 with the 10% premium. Thank you. Okay, and the final discussion item is the Third Ward Council vacancy. Anyone wish to address that?
I guess it's my turn again.
It is.
See, Gary, I can talk more than one time, right? You teased me last week, and I enjoyed our conversation. On this, as you know, Councilor Walker is stepping down in his current councilor position, which that gives us the vacancy. So I'm going to read a couple options that you have, and then I'll read something in the state code to make sure that we're all on the same page. So option 1, the council has the option to fill the seat by an appointment until the next regular city election, which is scheduled for November 7th, 2023. Unless there's a petition for an interviewing special election, here's the potential timeline for this option. So on 626, it's discussion item, and we're doing it now for a motion to fill the vacancy by appointment. We have to let the public know that if that's your intention. On 629 or 23, a public notice for the intention to appoint the right to petition. Then you need 2 weeks posting. Request letters for those that might be interested in filling that position. From that point on, and that would go through July 12th, 23, and then 7/17, a special meeting interviewed interest candidates. So if those that bring their name forward, there will be a council will look and see after those interviews which way they'd like to go. The petition deadline would be, if the petition deadline within 14 days after the publication of notice or within 14 days after the appointment is made. Then on 8/14, the oath of office would be appointed, official will take office. So I just want to clear that well, I'll just read the options and I'll come back and read the part in the state, sorry. So option 2, the council calls for a special election to fill the term of the vacancy, which would be scheduled for September 12th, 2023. So this is the discussion item. If you choose to have a motion to move forward a special election, There'll be a posting, a post affidavit of candidacy of nomination petition. On 7/24, a resolution to approve the public measure language. On 7/28, the public measure deadline. Public must, the deadline to, public measure deadline to the election office. Candidacy deadline, affidavit of the candidacy, and nomination petitions due to the city clerk. On 9/12, the special election day if intervening petition is received or if the council calls for an election. And on 9/25 would be the oath of office. Elected official takes office if there is a special election. So if I could, Mayor, I'd like to read the section of law under 372.13. The appointment shall be made within 60 days after the vacancy occurs and shall be for the period until the next regular city election, unless there's an intervening special election for that city in which the election for the office shall be placed on the ballot at such special election. So I believe what this is telling us is that if nobody asks for the special election, or excuse me, if you have the special election, the individual that would win that would have the remaining, what's left in the election. So in other words, it'd be like basically 2 years for the next one. If the council just appoints somebody and it moves forward, then it's on the next election in November, and they'd have to run again for the last 2 years of Mr. Walker's term.
Okay, thank you for that clarification. The floor is open for suggestions on which way to go.
Your Honor?
Yes.
I lean towards option one with a slight modification, just given the timeline falls around the 4th of July holiday, people's family vacations and such. I'd like to see that 2-week posting occur right after the 4th or extend that window to 3 or 4 weeks. Otherwise, I'm fine with what's laid out and prescribed there.
Thank you. Any other comments by council?
Your Honor, if I may.
You may.
I've gone on record in the past saying that I don't think we should appoint elected seats, and I guarantee you I will get the petition and I will demand a special election. So if we appoint, you're going to have a person sit in 3 meetings is all they're going to be in. You're just going to be in 3 meetings because that special election would be in September. So we can appoint, but again, you're just going to have an appointment for three meetings.
Thank you. Anyone else?
Your Honor, I agree with Barry's timeline. I think that's a good idea.
Others? This one probably also calls for a motion. Oh, yeah, yes, sorry. I forgot about public comment.
Mark Eaton, 1007 South 10th Avenue. I've said it so much, I almost forgot it. If we go with Barry Kell's motion and they go to a point, then there's no option, I don't think there's an option for a special election between September and November. If we go with option 2, there will be a special election on the July 20, or on September, because while I'm getting the petitions for the franchise fee, we're going to have a special election. So either I'm going to get a special election petition for a council seat, or you got to put it on there. I'm not clear on what he said, but I think he said you got to put it on there if there's a special election for the franchise fee. So voting for option 1 is like, okay, if that's what you want.
Other public comment?
Linda Clark, 306 South 2nd Avenue. We are very well aware that we're going to have a special elections for September 12th on this franchise fee. And I think it would make good common sense. There would be time for candidates from the third board that want to acquire the seat and we could have special election September 12th for the Third Ward councilperson seat as well as the franchise fee. It would save us a little money doing both at the same time. Thank you for your time.
Anyone else?
Mr. Mayor, I want to look at what Mr. Eaton said as well, and I'll just read the part, and shall be for a period until the next regular city election. I don't know if a special election would be called the next regular city. I want to verify that, and I'll get that back to you if that's okay.
Your Honor, the Elections Department has already confirmed that if a special election is held for the franchise fee, that the vacancy would go on the same ballot.
Your Honor, if I may?
May.
I've got special knowledge of this stuff. To put it on a special election, if you're going to run for the position, it would be nice if you had a little bit of time to actually think through that you really want to do it than that. So I'm more inclined to have it on a general election to give people time to actually get out and campaign.
Yeah, sorry, Your Honor, may I?
You're good.
If that's the direction the council is choosing to take, why rush this and do it now? We have 60 days. For your point, Councilman Lottie Hoff, then that allows for a proper campaign, election, et cetera.
Anyone else? Before I call for some motion to give staff direction. Okay. Anybody want to move for one or the other?
Your Honor?
Yes.
I'll motion for option 1 with a 2-week posting window starting the Monday after the 4th of July.
Is there a second to that motion?
Second.
Roll call.
Thompson?
No.
Walker?
That didn't sound like a good noise to hear with the beep beep, did it? I think that's what we heard the last time he got
Counselor Walker?
bounced off. When we were trying to set this up right before the meeting, he was bounced off for just a bit, but that time he was able to get back on almost within 10 or 15 seconds.
He is currently not on.
Well, let's continue with roll.
Hoop?
Yes.
Isom?
Yes.
Kell?
Yes.
Lottie Hoff?
No?
Schneider?
Yes.
Okay, that one carried, and we'll go ahead and give staff direction to post it that way. Very good. I'd feel remiss if I didn't say this too, and I wish that he were still on to hear it. Dex Walker has been an exemplary city councilor, and while I'm glad for his family and him that he has this new job opportunity and that the State House down there is offering him an opportunity that they can't turn down, and so he is required to live in Des Moines, and his wife has already gotten a new job in another Catholic school in Des Moines, and their house is for sale, as I understand it. I really personally am going to miss him and wish them the best, so I'll feel better. I wish he were still on to hear that, but I feel better telling the public how much he's meant to me as the mayor, and I think to the rest of the council up here. Okay, with that, we are adjourned at 6:48. Thanks for coming.